On this episode of The Wild Table, we make the most of a sunny weekend on the beach. We light a fire, enjoy some beer, and we crank up the Dutch oven to slow braise some wild pork directly over the open fire. So stay tuned, this is a good one.
Right, beach time. Man, we haven't been to the beach in such a long, feels like forever. We're just coming to the tail end of winter in New Zealand, so finally time again to go to the beach and sort of do all those things that we kind of don't really want to do in winter. Also, we're just recovering from COVID, so Jessica and I both got COVID, which knocked us out for a couple of weeks. Didn't really do anything at all. Certainly no hunting and fishing. Yeah, so I don't know if you've had COVID or not, but man, wasn't a fun time. Don't recommend doing that. But tell you what, we did get a wicked delivery of new cooking products from Food Over Fire. Got a wicked cast iron Dutch oven, which we're dying to cook something here on the beach, and also got a really cool fire trivet and fire tripod. So what we're going to do today on the beach is we're going to set up a nice fire, and we're going to slow braise some wild pork in the cast iron pot over the fire. And then later, if we feel like it, we're going to send the kontiki out and so we can catch some winter fish. Man, a lot of stuff that goes in here every time, eh? Look at all this. Got the kontiki, you got the chili bin, you got the fishing rod, got the charcoal chimney, you got firewood, got the winch, freshwater container for the hands, salt ice, bait, beer, more beer back there. This is where you tell the people what else we got. Okay, yeah, just suffice it to say there's a lot of stuff that comes with on these trips every single time.
What am I What am I doing?
You're getting kindling for the fire.
Okay. Right. We'll go find some kindling.
Yes, there's lots of it hanging around. Here we go. Handy. Ready wears. Wax canvas fire stick piece collection bag. Very fashionable. Very fashionable for the common grub. Obviously, first thing is first, we gotta light a fire. So what I like to do for starting a fire, we've got oak wood, dry seasoned oak wood that I like to cook on, because oak really just holds the heat and it's really nice and easy to cook on. I like to use a fire chimney or a charcoal chimney, which is this thing here. And the way this works is quite simple really. It has holes in it. You load it up with charcoal and you light it from underneath. You can even just take a piece of newspaper or something and light it up and just get some flames coming in from underneath. And because of the mechanics of heat, right? Thermodynamics, heat rises, and so this thing basically, because the heat rises up through the chimney, it just keeps on drawing oxygen from underneath. So it works really well for starting a fire. So I'm going to make a little bit of a shallow depression in the sand. We're going to tip the charcoal into it and then quite simply stack a few blocks of oak on top, and then that'll sort of do its own thing after that. Okay, so here's something really cool. Moa Beer, which are these guys here, have just sent us a whole bunch of the Motueka Hazy IPA. Jesus. Hazy IPA. And because we've got the beer, I really wanted to do like a beer braised wild pork. We still have a little bit of wild pork in the freezer from one of the last hunts we did with our buddy Trent up at the farm, which was a really cool little hunt actually. It was one of those We just went up to the farm, you know, caught up with Trent, who's a real good bugger, and he sort of let us out. And then just after dark, we got a little mob of pigs, and we shot several of those. So still got a little bit of that wild pork in the freezer, which I pulled out. And the part that I pulled out was basically front shoulder and shanks. So they were only relatively small, so it's not a huge chunk of meat. But we're gonna take 2 front shoulders with the shanks attached. And right now, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna set up the fire tripod that we have, which goes directly over the fire pit. And then on the chain that's hanging off of that, I'm gonna hang the cast iron Dutch oven, and we're gonna brown up the meat first of all. Okay, so we've got the trivet set up now with the cast iron Dutch oven just hanging right above the fire, and it's starting to get a little bit of heat going on in there. So here we've got the pork shanks, and actually I've also defrosted a piece of wild pork ham off of the butt. I'm gonna free those from their plastic vacuum seal in a minute. A little bit of olive oil in the pot. Like I said, it's already getting hot. Okay, so all we got to do is basically bang the meat in there, and all we want is we want a nice little bit of browning on both sides of the meat, because that just locks in some of the flavor. Okay, great. So while the meat is already browning in the cast iron pot over there, I've got the rest of the ingredients here, and the rest of the process is super simple. We've got onion, garlic, and ginger. We're going to take probably sort of 5-6 cloves of garlic, whole nice big onion, and a good piece like that roughly of the ginger. That goes in there. We got some dark soy sauce, some light soy sauce, and some rice wine vinegar. We're going to take about a cup each of the light and the dark soy sauce, and a dash, probably like a quarter of a cup sort of thing of the rice wine vinegar. Then I've got a stock. This is a homemade duck stock that we made earlier on in the piece. We're going to take about a cup of that. I've got star anise, Chinese 5 spice, and cloves. So we're going to put a little bit of each of that into the pot. Got some chilies, just because I like a little bit of heat. Salt and pepper, of course. And of course, we're going to put in at least 2 cans of the Moa Hazy IPA beer. And then essentially that meat, already being nicely brown, is just going to braise away for the next sort of 3-4 hours or so over the fire, until that pork meat is just about ready to fall off the bone. So what I like about that sort of style of cooking is it's very simple. You know, we've just chucked all the ingredients in the Dutch oven. All we got to do now is just keep an eye on it and sort of just keep it simmering away for the next sort of, I want to say it's probably going to take a good 3 to 4 hours till that meat starts to fall off the bone. Naturally, you got to keep a little bit of an eye on the temperature in the pot. If it's rapidly boiling all the way through, it's going to burn, so we don't want that, and all the liquid is going to evaporate, right? So what we need to do is we need to maintain a height and the temperature in the fire so that it just simmers away. So every now and again, I'm just going to peek inside the pot to make sure it's not boiling rapidly or anything like that. And if it's too hot, I'll just raise it up on the chain. And if the fire starts burning too low, obviously just keep adding more wood to keep it hot. Easy. See you in 3 to 4 hours.
Guarda adesso.
Get it. Oh, it's just, oh, that's just, So, Jesse.
Yes.
We're cooking wild pig,
Yes.
which we shot at Trent's farm, which was freaking awesome. And we haven't really bought much meat at the supermarket, in about, what, 3 months?
Yep. We're doing much better.
Yeah. Sort of a goal for us with this thing and with the channel is to just to get to a point where we're self-sufficient, you know, meaning that We can harvest all of our wild game and fish, and it's a really cool feeling to like be able to sit here and say, yeah, we haven't really spent money at the supermarket to buy meat from places that don't resonate.
There's so much beauty for me within this space of how we procure the food and how we honor the food and how there's gratitude and respect for the animals, and it's way more sustainable.
Kind of how it's meant to be, eh?
Yeah, and to eat food that you've harvested yourself, there's a lot of potency and power and beauty in that.
Satisfaction, eh?
Yeah. And knowing whose hands have touched that meat as well, right? Like you go to a supermarket and there's so much disconnection between the plastic that you receive your meat on and that journey that animal has been on. Whereas for us, we know the land that it's walked. We've also walked that land with it. Yeah, it's really different. It's actually very special.
Yeah, I agree. How many hands have touched the meat? Eh? I think that's a good one. I really like that, you know, knowing that there's no disconnect between the meat and ourselves. It's been a 1 degree separation, a 0 degree separation. You know, we got the meat, we're cooking the meat, we're eating the meat, and we're sharing it with friends and family. Like our neighbor Craig's over all the time, having meat, having food. Other people come around, and it's fantastic. And I know it's not possible for everyone on this planet, and it probably never will be possible for everyone to experience this, but at least for some people to retain that ability to source their own wild food and really stay in touch with nature and stay in touch with that process. I think it's very, very important for our species to not lose that and to keep remembering that. So it's a huge pleasure. We're looking for a little place in the country. If you happen to be based in New Zealand and you've got an awesome property and you want people to come live on it, sing out. Or if you've managed to like get away from it all and like do that thing and find a place in the country, tell us about it. Just leave us some comments, etc.
Yes.
Yeah. Get out of it. So yeah, the meat's cooking away. It's been about an hour, I think, or something like that. Smelling delightful.
Should we go do some...
Surf cast?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's go do some fishing.
Let's go see if we can catch a fish.
Rightio, so this has been on here now for I think 3 hours. Sort of lost track of time, to be fairly honest. We've just been mucking around, playing with the dogs, doing a little bit of surf casting and stuff. Just enjoying a day at the beach, really, innit? But I reckon that it's been in there for a substantial amount of time now, and it should be getting about ready. So we're gonna take the lid off right now and have a look. And pull it off. Here we go. Hey, no, that's not looking too bad, is it? And that meat is just pretty much where I want it to be. It's juicy, and you can tell like it's fork tender to the point where it's just, could probably do like a little bit more time, you know, but really is getting to the point where it's falling to pieces. Yeah, that's pretty good. Ah, oh man, yum. It's juicy and sweet and falling to pieces, and you can taste the ginger. Taste that dark soy sauce, the spices, tiny little bit of chili. Yum. Oh man. I'm a big fan of wild pork. I find it aside from duck, I think it's probably my favorite meat. I find it very sweet and flavorful. Obviously it's a little bit leaner than domesticated pork, so it's not like you're gonna get a bunch of good bacon off wild pork, but I really dig the flavor, and that is nice. Right on. So here we got the fire trivet. Really simple but really effective piece of equipment. Essentially what it is just a tripod, kind of a stand that goes directly over the fire, and then you can cook on it, which just makes it a lot easier than trying to stick the pot on the fire and having it wobble around on the wood, etc. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to take the shovel and rake a few of the embers out to one side. I'm going to stick this straight over the top, and then I'm going to cook on that. Oh, look at that. Just fork tender, falling to pieces. Yeah. Of course, I got that beautiful broth from the noodles. Man, such a simple recipe. Beer, dark soy sauce, light soy sauce, onion, ginger, garlic, a little bit of stock. Just that meat is falling to pieces. It's beautiful, it's tender. I'm really looking forward to eating this. Yum. Super simple recipe, cooked on the beach, straight over the fire. As always, you just can't beat a day. Like, this is the lifestyle in my mind. So Cheesy and I are gonna get stuck into this because I don't want it to get cold, and I want to enjoy every single bite of this beautiful dish.
Okay. That's really yum.
It didn't even take 3 hours, 4 hours. I think it was just over 3 hours.
It's so tender.
Just gonna finish off the day by sending out the kontiki. It's not an exciting way to fish, like in the same way that like fishing off of a boat is, but if you're just gonna go to the beach to have a cook, you know, I really like the fact that you just set this thing out. 25 hooks, let it soak in the water for a couple of hours. We're gonna do all the cleanup in the meantime, and with any luck, you know, you pull it back in with a few fish on it. Last time I caught a kingfish, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, last time I had a big kingfish on there. So yeah, just a really nice way to round off the day, I think. Enjoying the last light on the beach, and just gonna keep that fire burning for a little bit longer. Hopefully, next time you see me, it'll be with some fish.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark? From so far away, show us where we are. What makes the sun go to sleep every night, and what's it dreaming of? I wonder. How come the sky sometimes hides behind the clouds? Maybe it's just like me, a little bit scared of heights. Why does the rain...
Alright, well, the kontiki's been out there for an hour and a bit, hour and a half, something like that. So we've eaten, the fire is burning down. Just gonna pour this in and see if there's any fishies. Any luck, we'll go home with an extra feed. If not, oh well. It's been a beautiful day at the beach. Delicious food. See how we go. Oh yeah, that's all right. That's a good snapper. Legal fish. Must have been a school snapper, eh? Because all the bait is gone, like without fail. Yeah, come on. Now, that's at least one keeper, eh? One penny. You rolling?
Yeah.
Rightio, here's one beauty little snapper. Nothing to write home about, but it's a good penny. It's a good eater. So finishing a nice day on the beach, having cooked a beautiful meal, sent out the kontiki, caught a nice snapper, and I'll cook something beautiful with this guy tomorrow.
How come the stars come to shine when it's dark? From so far away, show us where we are.